Mama, mama, can't you see what this army's done for me? I used to wear my faded jeans. Now I'm rocking army green. The army life is not my style. Got me looking like Gomer Pyle. Yeah.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Vets Talking Tuesday. How y'all doing already then? I am welcoming you to this amazing panel with our amazing guest, Mr. Culture Casino. Welcome to Vets Talking, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, but I think you're overselling me a tad. But I appreciate being here. I appreciate the invite, and can't wait to hang out with you guys. I'm pretty excited. Been looking forward to this all day.
At the very least, you have amazing hair, an amazing beard, and an amazing glass of wine sitting next to you. So you are an amazing dude, man. Don't undersell. Yeah, see, you got that, and I got a big ass beer mug down there and a bunch of liquor behind me. So you're all right in my book. Don't try to undersell
yourself,
man.
He's got a rockin' beard and a love of booze. He's on the right channel.
There you go.
Exactly. You're fitting right in with all the military vets here, man. And I see he's unmuted there. We have not had him on here, but we've been chatting a lot. I've been trying to get him on. Black Angus, are you there, man?
Oh yeah. How do I sound? Do I sound too loud or?
Oh, you sound fantastic, dude. You sound fantastic. Go ahead and tell everybody about yourself since it's your first time popping on the channel.
Yeah. No. Well, I know you at least because of Walton. He linked me up with y'all, and I guess the vet subgroup of rogues. So, yeah, Tuesdays are hard for me just to come on, but I'm excited to be here. Finally, and finally actually saying hi to Culture Casino. I've talked to him for like a year off and on. Like, hey, when you free?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
So funny with that too. But yeah, I'm a Army vet. I served 12 to 16 out of Fort Knox and then Fort Drum. I did 2 combat, 2 medac. I was a medic in the Army, and I did 1 tour in Afghanistan, 13 to 14.
Nice. I did not realize you were stationed in Drum. You know, when I was a young dumb private, one of the top 3 locations I chose to want to be stationed at, one of them was Fort Drum, New York, because it was close to my original home. Thank God that never happened, because I know from everyone I've heard that place is a cold shithole. I'm glad I didn't get my
it's
wish.
Great, actually. Like, there is the dreaded mystique, and if you're like a California douchey that needs a mall 5 minutes from you, and oh man, you got to drive, I don't know, 15 to go to the small mall at Drum. Like, it's fine. It's got what you need. I was broke as shit because I just got married at the time, and then we were having my son, so I couldn't afford anything. It was skin of our teeth, but even then, I enjoy my time up there. Maybe someday I'll have money. I can actually get a place and live, have like a summer or just a all-time home. I like the winter up there. The snow's fine for me. I'm in Ohio, so I'm not far away from there.
No, you see that? Okay. That's just Stockholm syndrome in action right there. It's just like, oh yeah, the winter's great there.
You went full.
No, winter was awesome. Man. I like.
Never go full retard.
No.
I had to give that to you.
Hey, well,
you were the only one I've ever heard clip. That they say that they like Fort Drum. I've never heard anyone else say that.
I've never heard a sane person say they like Fort Drum. A couple engineers, but they're tapped. So
last time I went TDY to Fort Drum, at the end of the trip, we were racing out of that valley over the mountain to get away from a blizzard that was rolling in.
There's a reason why it's the cold weather training. Is it the home of cold weather training? It's something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, they fly Alaska people to New York.
Isn't that where 10th Mountain's based out of?
Yeah, 10th Mountain is Drum, and then I think there's like one unit in Louisiana, Fort Polk. That's kind of how it was for me at Knox. I was the one bastard brigade of First ID for Fort Knox at the time.
Okay. Well, moving on to the next Army guy, Mr. Ryan, Legion Games 2076. His internet is terrible and not working, so he's on a phone, but I'm happy he's here. How you doing, man?
Good. Sorry I'm late. Yeah, I don't know. The internet went out around 1 o'clock today, and they said it'd be fixed at 5. That was 3 hours ago, and I resorted to a phone. So hopefully you guys can hear me, and we did find out I'm not on that much of a delay so far.
No, you sound like shit, but we can still make out what you're saying. So, so it's foobar, it's snafu, but at least it's working. Situation normal, all fucked up.
Yep.
Welcome to the Vets channel.
Thanks, man.
Mr. Horny Alf, the only one here who's not technically a veteran. He's still serving, but he's doing his thing. How you doing, man?
Hey, Soldier Spirit, thanks for having me on. Yeah, Horny Alf, everyone's favorite alien purveyor of memes. You catch me on the normally on the Legion channel on their streams on Saturdays, but also on Vets Talkin Tuesdays and Saturday evenings. But yeah, 19-year Air Force vet and still going. So
yeah, buddy. Yeah, we're gonna have to ask you a few questions about when we talk about this Guy Richie movie, because the main character in there's a JTAC. I've never seen a JTAC as a main character in a military movie before. That's gonna be pretty awesome. Your insight on that's gonna be great. And moving on to our resident Marine, hoorah! But Metallicus, how are you?
How's it going, my friend? Always good to be here.
Yeah. Okay. That's all you got. Moving on.
A man of few words. That's Marines. Just tell them what to do and point. We'll get them.
That's a Marine.
Man of few words. All of them
That's
4 letters are under.
Mr. Culture Casino, tell everybody a little about yourself. I would actually really like to know, how did you start on YouTube, if you don't mind my asking?
Well, I tell the story all the time. You can blame people like Gary, world-class bullshitters. You can name all those different places. I was watching them because I was really dissatisfied in entertainment, and I still had a lot of connections in entertainment. I still do. Some of my friends still work in various aspects of entertainment. And I was like, none of this makes sense, because when I look at it with a critical mind, and I always do that from a business point of view, I was like, this doesn't jive, and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going crazy. So I again got turned on to people like Gary and Doomcock and just the whole smattering of people, and this young kid named Ryan Cannell who's bonkers. And just a bunch of crazies, and there you go. I mean, I was like, you know what, I'm going to start a channel. So reached out to a few people, and you know how DMs are, they're hit or miss. You might get lucky, you might get somebody that'll respond to you, and I did. A couple people, one of them being that very same Ryan Cannell, who said, you know what, don't worry about anything, get a good mic and a cheap camera, and start talking. And I didn't want to be on camera because for a lot of different reasons, but mostly because I still, at the time, had a public face with my company, and I didn't, necessarily want a lot of people to figure it out. What I didn't realize is there's millions and millions and millions of YouTube channels, so the likelihood of somebody seeing me was very low. So, come to start a channel, I started working on the channel for 2 months before I even did video 1. Got all the graphics put together and the whole 9 yards, created a persona character that was basically a robot that was going to do movie reviews. That was going to be my primary thing, and did one of those. And then one of my friends, now one of the people that I followed that I thought was extraordinary, was Comics Division, and you had the fortune of hanging out over there with Dick's Division, and it was the first time Comics revealed his face, and I realized if he can do that, with as much as he has invested in things, I could do the same thing. So from that point forward, I was an on-screen face, which, like I said, was never going to do, and just goes from there. So, and then every once in a while, I drop a little piece of my backstory, and by now, I think it's pretty well known that I donate my hair regularly, which is why it's so long. So, yeah.
Oh,
but,
well, great, because I could use some.
There you go, Black Angus. Indeed,
he needs a donation.
Yeah, enough about me. It's y'all are far more important. You served our country, and I appreciate that. So Enough of me.
Well, we're just we're not looking for any ass kissing either.
No,
man.
I know
Thank you.
there
Thank
isn't
you
any.
so much for...
I'm grateful. I say the same things to my family members that have served. So yeah, no, I'm grateful. So everybody should be.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming on. And I appreciate the hell out of our chat. I'm going to say hi to a few people. And first off, Mr. Rogue Attraction. Tom, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for coming by, man. Let me head up here to our mod with the most, Mr. Nano Reaper, giving love to the pink tank in our thumbnail. Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? It's very well garnished, man, with the rainbow flags and all that shit. Yeah, we should make all our tanks pink. I think it's gonna be that's the next step. Go ahead.
I think you should make certain tanks pink, and those ones will definitely get targeted first. So, yay.
Yeah.
Did I say that? Oh, in Warcraft. Oh, no, wait, no, in Minecraft. I forgot. I'm supposed to end that sentence with in Minecraft. There, so there, I'm safe.
In Minecraft. Yeah, that's a disclaimer right there. Mr. Chris Mead, thanks for coming by. Tina Bojan, thank you. Happy to see you here. Let's see, Black Angus Reviews in here, and he's on here. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead. British Abbott SPG, yeah. Oh yeah, it's a self-propelled gun. You're right. It's a artillery vehicle. I don't know the terminology. I like calling it tank. Mr. Nano Reaper must be artillery to get a little picky about that. All right,
well,
so here's the thing:
the combat arms, guys, the difference between a tank and an SPG is quite significant.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can get into that if you want, but what I want to talk about first is we had a topic. We were going to get into the woke military stuff first, but right before we were getting ready to come on, an interesting little article popped up in my feed. Let me share a screen right here real quick. I found this interesting, could be newsworthy, and here's the thing: it's the timing more than anything else. Is Kim Jong-un? Scroll back up here. Kim Jong-un abruptly appears after 36 days out of the spotlight and orders North Korea to, quote unquote, prepare for war. And here's the reason why I want to bring this up. For one, yeah, North Korea does this all the damn time. They posture and they talk shit and all this other kind of crap. But here's the interesting thing is the timing. Because one, we had the China balloon, which appeared in our airspace about 2 weeks ago and only got shot down a couple days ago, which China knows. There's no way they didn't time that perfectly, which is right before what's tonight? The speaker, the State of the Union address is tonight. So China goes ahead and does that. And now we got North Korea making this announcement to prepare for war. Here's the thing. Everybody can speculate what's really going on. I think Dan Bongino hits out of the park more than anything else, is that China was giving everybody the big fuck you, the big middle finger, and saying, look at what we can do, and you're just going to sit back and take it, which is exactly what they did. And now North Korea comes out and says this on the exact same day. This article pops out the exact same day as the State of the Union. They are just punking Biden right now. They are making him look like a little weak-ass bitch, and therefore the
timing is rather convenient, isn't it?
Oh, no, it was intentional. Yeah, it was intentional. And look, I mean, you have the weakest president we've had in office in a very, very long time. So,
I might say ever. I don't even think Carter was this weak.
I think it's a good. I was alive for Carter, so I'd say it's a good run for the money there. But yeah, look, this is not done without forethought. Let's just put it that way, in my opinion, and that's my civilian opinion. So there you go.
And here's the thing with dictators or authoritarians, they actually respect strength. That's why when Trump was in office, he didn't play around. He said what he said he was gonna do. You know, I love all the body language whenever he met with Putin, where they go to handshake and he grab his hand and he pull Putin towards him. That was obviously using body language to show strength. And authoritarians in other countries actually respect other leaders that show strength. When you show you're weak, then they will take advantage of that.
Of course, and you can't treat somebody like North Korea like you would somebody like Britain. Their cultures and their governments are completely different. So, you have to show them what they respect, which in this case is strength and assertiveness. And if you threaten to punch them in the mouth, they'll sit down and negotiate. But if you roll over and do what they want, they'll just walk all over you.
What's amazing is one of the very first things that Trump did as a president is actually completely forgotten about. Was initially attacked, but I can't remember where it was that he bombed. Where was the bombings? He dropped the Moab right at the beginning of his presidency.
Syria.
You guys remember that? It was in Syria.
Yeah, he stepped up our airstrikes in Syria, and in order to get ISIS to back the hell off, and lo and behold, they did.
Yeah, the thing is that he showed strength and let everybody know that he's not fucking around, and he also made sure that Putin knew that, and it is like you said, it was a show of strength. And what's one of the first things that Biden did instead is he pulled us out of Afghanistan completely unprepared and left enough equipment behind to make the Taliban the 8th strongest military, most well-equipped military in the entire fucking world. He's a pussy. He's made our country look like a bunch of fucking pussies, and he's hurting our military intentionally. We can start getting to that conversation because I think it's all intentional. What do you guys think?
It's too consistent to be stupidity. Even an idiot would get something right by now, and he has strategically hit us everywhere we were strong.
Yeah, I call it the Biden administration because this is just the third term of Obama. Biden is a puppet. He has moments of clarity, but it's very obvious that they try to manage him. Sometimes he gets loose because he's an old man out of the nursing home. Where am I?
I was
he's handled.
that too.
This is an agenda by the Biden Emperor in the shadows.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Biden's a puppet, and he's not cogent enough to make these kind of decisions. He just gets up every now and then when they can inject him with whatever meds they put him on to make him possible to get in front of public for 5 minutes, and then someone else is pulling the strings from behind the scenes.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, if you look at all the connections with his son, with all the investments, with all the connections to businesses in China, all the money, the 10% for the big man and all that kind of stuff. One, he's getting paid. He's getting paid by Ukraine. He's getting paid by China. If we want to say, if it needs to do a disclaimer, this is speculation, blah, blah, blah. But there's plenty of talk out there and all this kind of shit. Dude, the guy he was getting paid. And you're right. There is people pulling the strings behind the scenes, and if nothing else, it's again. He might have been told not to do anything. They might have just known, okay, well, there's a balloon up there, so let's not do anything. But we're being punked. We're being made to look like bitches, and we're being made to look like anybody on the world stage can just roll right over us and do whatever the hell they want. Culture, what do you think, man?
Which is very dangerous.
Yeah. Oh no, it's more than dangerous. I mean, the West has been and largely it has historically benefited from the power of the U.S. military. All of our allies haven't had to maintain a level of readiness because of their allegiance and their allyship with the United States. You have again, you guys, already talked about the fact that you had the surrender of military equipment, which, leveled us another opponent on the battlefield all of a sudden out of whole cloth. In fact, if they're actually selling those assets off to another foreign power like Russia, we've got a real problem. Now our technology is being, reverse engineered, et cetera, which really bothers me. But no, I think you're right. I think not only are we living under the yoke of a form of tyranny by a government that I don't necessarily agree may have been put in place, in the most democratic of fashion. I do believe he's more than a puppet. I do believe it's an extension of the Obama presidency, and I don't think anybody can argue with that. How cogent do you think this man is going to be this evening? How cognizant of his surroundings do you think he's going to sound during the State of the Union? I think neither of those things are likely.
I think it's going to be an old man yells at cloud speech.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, if he ventures off of the teleprompter and goes on elocution safari or tries to figure out, how to add 2 + 2, or he gets distracted by, Marjorie Taylor Greene's balloon in the House chamber, I think we're in for a real surprise treat, whatever you want to call it. But more importantly, it's more than a little obvious to the civilians out here in the world exactly what's happening, and how disgusted we are with the not just the denigration, but the destruction of our own military and its capabilities. So there you are.
I want to add to what you're saying. I think this is like the Afghanistan pullout abruptly. What happened within 24 hours? If not, I think even less than that. Once we heard in the public sphere this was happening, there was some secretary talking to the press. Who was like, "Yeah, we're talking about ways how we want to go about maybe going back in," and it's like, "Oh, this is just like what Eisenhower talked about, the industrial complex. This, they need this machine. This is 1984. It doesn't even matter if the war is real.
Well,
as
that's
long
not
as
what
people
Eisenhower was
believe."
talking about with the military-industrial complex. He was talking about the constant back and forth influence between the political side of the Department of Defense and insiders at all of these large defense contractors like
Right.
Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, General Dynamics, all the stuff that all the guys who make a lot of our military equipment. And it's not, and if you listen to his speech, it's not necessarily just intentional. It's just the natural evolution of that relationship between those companies and the military. As they get better as defense contractors, they're naturally going to have an influence on the government, want it or not.
Yeah, no,
And
I understand
give
that. I'm
people an
just saying
excuse
that
for that, they're going to use it.
I'm just saying that this is like an extension of that. This is the
I don't
this is
see
like
it as
the,
that.
the
I
follow
said
through.
that was just sheer
we need
retardation on our
we need a war. Well,
it wasn't
the
that,
people in
'cause,
power that pull the strings. They need a
I don't think
constant
it was
war.
that, because I think they just didn't know what else to do. And that's why we were there as long as we were. I mean, hell, when I got out of the Marine Corps in 2012, that's what most of the guys were saying at the time, and why none of us stayed was Bin Laden was dead.
Hello,
Most
lovely
of Helmand
Sherry.
Province had been
Welcome.
secured. And we were basically looking at okay, well, how long can this war go on?
Well,
We've
here's
done
the
everything we
thing.
needed to do. It's time to go home now.
Right.
I was
yeah,
in
I totally agree with that.
I was in Afghanistan in 2016, and we were keeping the region stable, and there was no. I mean, the cost for the Afghanistan war the last 4 years was very minimal, and in the last 4 years, I believe it was the last 4 years, there was not a single American death. So if anything, we're keeping the region more stable than it is today. I mean, look at it this way: we're still in Germany, we're still in Japan from World War II. Whether you agree with that or not, I mean, we're there. And most of that was a counter to the Soviet Union from the Cold War, but we're still there.
Military assets.
We're
have been
even still in
placed
Iraq.
Well, there's a very legitimate strategic reason why we still have bases in Iraq and Saudi Arabia, because in the event of a major war, we will seize the Middle East and basically cut off the rest of the world's oil supply.
Yeah.
Outside of our allies,
Yeah, well,
and
I mean,
most of
that's
the
what
world gets its oil from the Middle East. We are one of the only countries that doesn't.
Well, we
Or
don't
that
have
can
to.
not.
Yeah. I
in
mean,
really
Doha,
short
Doha is really important. There's no doubt about it. But look, I mean, and again, I'm a civilian, but I'm just looking at it this way. Afghanistan had to end so the proxy war could start in Ukraine. And so we could funnel billions and 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 billions.
Well, I'm wondering how much of that is the tail wagging the dog, and how much of that is the withdrawal from Afghanistan made us look weak enough that Russia decided to flex nuts and go into a place like Ukraine, because they already had the plans. They were just wondering how we'd respond.
Right. I mean, again, it shouldn't have been anything they had to wonder about with the loss of Crimea under the regime, twice, removed now. But I just, I'm again, I mean, if I'm looking at it like it's a chess game, if I'm looking at it from game theory, I'm just saying, I mean, you have all these contractors, they want to make money. How do you make money? You have to develop new tech. You have to sell new tech to the federal government. You have to reinforce all that tech. You need to, supply ammunition and missiles, and et cetera.
And
et cetera.
I think a lot of that gets lost in the shuffle of the great game as well. Of you also have the geopolitical level that you have to look at, in that there are three major power blocks in the world today. the United States, Russia, and China. Now, the other two would have to ally with each other to knock us off. And even then, it's a maybe. So they're both they both want us gone. But neither one of them is really willing to take the jump and actually attack us directly. Because as weak as we look right now, they're both pretty sure that once we get up off the mat and get our army in gear, we're going to beat the brakes off of whoever started it.
I have to add my conspiracy theorist side of it, but I think it's oversimplified to think it's just three superpowers. It is, but I think the three superpowers are being manipulated by nefarious three-letter organizations.
Oh yeah.
Because they want a one world government, and the only way they can do that is if they bring the three superpowers down, and they're working on all three fronts to do that.
Yeah,
that's the same thing I was bringing up when I was on with the comics division, and I was bringing that up. That it's been well known. Alex Jones has been talking about it forever, and so many other people have been talking about it before that there cannot be any superpowers in the world in order for this one world government to take place. And the three major ones right now are the U.S., Russia, and China. And what's the best way to destroy those superpowers? To have them all get into war with each other. And that's exactly what's you look at that. They've been trying to do that for the longest damn time now. And we're on the brink of that right now. A war between us three, world war, which will devastate all, that's severe tinfoil hat time. But
I think they were hoping that would develop out of Ukraine.
And when you look at it too, I mean, everyone talks about the three superpowers. There is only one superpower by definition, being the ability to fight two theater scale conflicts simultaneously. We're the only ones who've ever done it. Well, and we're the only ones who even are theoretically capable of it today. And I'm not sure, even with our capabilities, how effective that will be long term. Because we can do it short term, sure, but we can't. I don't know if we could fight another World War II scenario.
I think
with enemies in both Europe and Asia.
I think they'll have to expand the draft to the women.
I won't go to the women because that just won't happen. And by the way, that's the death of a civilization. That's why it never happens.
I agree with you. But you understand. I mean, that's kind of the bullshit where they're being sold right now. The wokeification of the military is the idea.
Trust me, the woke troops are going to die off, and then the actual military is going to come back out.
Yeah, I'm actually waiting for a war because it's like we need a war to clean shop. We have lived in decadence.
Our command structure is so toxic and so useless, being that the only people who stayed and actually got promoted were the guys who were willing to play the political games, who were willing to, say the right thing and glad to get along. Whereas all the really competent commanders all left. From the NCO level all the way up to commanders, and when you look at it, anyone over the rank of colonel has to be approved by Congress. So,
and they tried to do that with the. They also tried to do that with the vaccine mandate, and I shared with you guys about 2 weeks ago that they revoked the vaccine mandate for the military, so that was a win.
And I was really proud to see a third of the Marine Corps told them to fuck off.
Probably why they revoked it eventually, because
all of their combat arms and special forces guys told them to pound sand, and they're like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying though, is since the Cold War ended and Soviets fell, we have lived in decadence, and we've had no one. Because
there's nobody who can.
We've had no one to match us. We have China's got numbers, India's got numbers, but they have no long-term power comparison. We're still the top dog. We just have no competition, and no one's trying to be legitimately competition. And so, unfortunately, we need conflict. We need competition to maintain vigilance. That's why the Spartans, if they didn't have a war, they would essentially make a war with the Helots every year, and it kept troop readiness up. So they only fell because of lack of ingenuity and warfare. They didn't fail because of readiness or anything. Or atrophy. So I think that's really the problem is, just long-term success, and it's made us weak. And so I'm just waiting for the bad times. And unfortunately we need it. We need bad times to get out of this. We're fighting about a fraction of a percent of the population, regardless if you think it's a fight or not. We're fighting about the most minute of questionable rights issues because everything's freaking amazing in this country. and we, it's the tribalism. We have nowhere to point it, and so that's really the problem. And so I'm not afraid of a world war. I look forward to it.
Yeah. To connect what Tina's saying here to what Culture Casino said, yeah, if we don't have a draft for women, then you're just gonna have so many men coming out and claiming they're women. So
yep.
Yeah.
Well, there's a solution for that.
Everyone turned trans all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Well,
that's one of those moments where you borrow out of the old Soviet playbook of like, how compelling? Please get on the bus.
Well, that's not, again, I mean, how do you know how anybody identifies, right? And this is the problem with this whole ideology, because everybody knows it's a bunch of bullshit and not biology, and that's a problem. I don't know, man. I've been looking at this for a long time, and there are large scale threats that are moving in on the United States in various ways, not just obviously the two specters we're talking about here, but the third one that you brought up, the 3-letter, that is one of 3 different entities that are actually working against all countries right now, trying to globalize under a one world government, which is garbage-tastic, because the wage slaves will be everybody at that point in time.
Well, they were going for a global government, global civilization a few years ago, and when Trump got elected, it kind of put a big wrench in the system for them. So after Trump was removed, they upped their game when it came to trying to globalize.
There's been attempts towards, a globalized ideology since Marx. Because that's who really started that idea. And that's one of the difference between a fascist and a socialist, is that fascists are more nationalistic in that they believe in, the state being the nation, whereas socialists are much more, shall we say, evangelistic about their political ideology and want to basically break down all national barriers and have everyone live in this system.
Well, it's part of the 45 steps. We had Gothics on Comics Division last night. I don't know if you guys.
That was a great conversation. I watched that this morning.
And we were talking about Marx and communism and all of the things that have to be disassembled. And if you were running the playbook right now, you're darn close to just having 1 or 2 more goals for them to achieve before they can actually try to slip that one in the back door. The thing that they can't fight against, that they're absolutely trying to do, is remove the arms that the private citizens have here in this country.
And that terrifies everybody.
Yeah,
from our enemies to our own politicians, in that we have more weapons than we do people.
Yeah. And you know what? You can make as much grandstanding as Biden has done in his speeches a couple of times now. Well, we have F-15s. I'm like, you have a select number of missiles on that. You have a select amount of ammunition on that. And jet fighters can't fight humans very well. They can blow them up with missiles. Not very well. You're not taking out the masses that could amass against you. Why we're even having this conversation, Mr. President, is silly. It's if enough bodies decide to march on Washington, there's naught you can do.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the point where, anybody who knows military strategy of any kind, like, knows that numbers are a quality all their own. Yeah. And, sooner or later, you're going to run out of ammunition. And once that happens, the whole scenario flips on its head very, very quickly.
Well, it's something I said, I think it was one of the last vets talking. I said that the military for the longest time has been one of the last pillars of our society that wasn't compromised by the left and by SJWs, and they are trying everything they can to change that, because they think if they get the military on their side when they decide to make any power plays, there won't be any resistance from military members.
There's plenty of historical parallels there. Almost every dictator before they take power has conducted a political purge of the military and basically gotten them on board.
Well, yeah, and that's we've been talking about that. That's why that in today's thumbnail, I'm making making it look like this is the weekly woke war machine, because it seems like every damn week we're finding some new news that's coming out that's really killing our military with all this woke crap. If it's not the vaccine mandates, then it's the recruitment. So it's one thing it's very obvious that the vaccine mandate was one way to make sure that they can try to purge out any conservative or right-leaning military member, but then also there there was the labeling of right-wing ideology as being a form of terrorism, so they want to start investigating that. And then now, so it's one thing you start purging away all those people, but then also bring in your people, and that's why there's all the woke ads, you know, the flowery, colory ads saying that I joined the military because I have 2 moms and all this other kind of stupid bullshit. But this is
They
a
want
perfect
to bring
segue
them
into the main
online.
topic about, yes, it's so perfect segue into this week in Weekly Woke War Machine. We need to have minority, your skin color, be a focus on whether or not you receive the Medal of Honor. And so I saw this crap pop up. And it's, you know, it's one thing when we're talking about, sure, back in the day, it was difficult, that there was issues with race and all this other kind of stuff. But nowadays, this does not need to be a focus. We do not need to look at your skin color being the decision on whether or not you receive a Medal of Honor. But so here's the list of the people who are recommended for the Medal of Honor. And we can go through here. And now, one, I want to know, when was it ever a part of your description of your service, depending on your skin color? Because in here, they're not just soldiers, they're not just sailors. They're a black soldier, a Japanese soldier, a Filipino soldier, a black soldier, special forces.
Now, I will say
soldier,
up until
and then
1947,
Asian-American soldier.
they have
So
a point.
why is it that this one person here did not have their skin color listed? Well, I didn't look the person up, but I'm going to be willing to bet this person's probably not a minority. This person's probably white. So why is it that every other person on here needs to have a descriptor be Asian American or black or Filipino, but the one
And if you
special
notice, there's a
forces
ton during the
Green Beret
Korean War.
is not listed? So yeah, and of course, here's the problem, is that every single person on here is a minority. So now they have made even the Medal of Honor a determining factor on whether or not you're going to receive the Medal of Honor. Screw anybody else. If there's anybody else out there, and not to say that these people are not eligible, I'm sure every single person went through absolute hell and did something absolutely amazing that they should never have had to do to be eligible for this. I'm not trying to take anything away, but the fact that we're focused on skin color, there's very possibly somebody who did something even higher up, but they're not being listed on here because they're the wrong color now.
Now, one question. Are these people who are on this list because they were submitted for the Medal of Honor and were rejected for whatever reason? Or are these people who have never been considered for the medal before?
I didn't go case by case. I don't think, not everyone is listed. There is one on here that said that his packet, I think this one right here, like multiple times his packet got disappeared in the shuffle, which is not uncommon. Hell, that happened to me for a medal. That military sucks. Is it any surprise? S1.
It happened to one of my
my
dad's uncles. He had a Bronze Star that no one knew about that had been awarded to him in like 1948. And they had just somehow never got the paperwork to him, so he didn't know he was eligible to wear a Bronze Star.
Wow.
I think this is just more of that CRT garbage making its way now into the military, where they judge someone's capabilities by their skin color and not by what they actually accomplished.
Well, they're having that same problem in the education as well. I mean, we're watching medical schools. We were talking about this the other day with comics. We're watching medical schools step out of, prestigious lines and magazines and things like that because they don't want to honor merit in these medical schools with performance grades, et cetera, et
And
cetera.
remember 5 years ago when that was a joke we were telling about all this woke bullshit? Was that like we're going to start grading pilots and doctors on their ability, on their woke score rather than their actual ability?
Yeah, I tell you what, I want the best effing doctor in the world. Tox said it last night. Toxic Manflu said it last night. I don't care what color anybody is. If I don't care if they're Asian, black, Indian. I don't give two shits. I want the best fucking doctor possible that's going to work on my heart when I need it, or work on my brain when I've had a stroke, or any of that other shit. And if you got vaccinated, be prepared to have a stroke or a heart attack. That's all.
And the worst part about we're in, most of us were in from the early to mid 2000s to late 2010s. It didn't fucking matter. Like race and all that other shit never mattered to us once because we're all green. So we're all wearing this uniform, and it doesn't fucking matter where you came from or who your parents were. You're one of us now, and we expect you to, have our back the same way we're going to have yours. And it doesn't matter none of these characteristics matter. If you're wearing an American uniform, we're coming to get you no matter what.
That's the great thing about the military. It's a mix of all different races, creeds, backgrounds coming together and fighting for the same goal.
But see, that's been every experience I've had with a group of men, right? It doesn't, and I know the military is extraordinary in that way, but you find a group of firemen, you find a group of policemen, you find a group of men playing sports. Any opportunity you have to be in a group of men are going to come together regardless of their skin color. They're on for a common goal. Men are goal oriented. Ladies, that's the way we are. We want to accomplish shit, and that's just in our DNA. Oh, I need to eat. I must go kill thing, right? And sometimes you needed a crew of guys to go kill a thing. If it was a mammoth or something, you had to roll with your boys to go, stab it with some spears. But that's men get together and they do shit. Most of them have no idea the other guy is whatever, race, ethnicity. Most of the time, that's not a party of the conversation. The conversation is often with you military folks, what was your MOS, method of service? You guys talk about weaponry and all that other shit. You're more interested in that than, who does your dad sleep with? And shit like nobody.
We're more likely to make fun of you because you were in the Coast Guard than because you're this skin color or that ethnicity or that religion.
Yeah, now come on, you're making fun of the 5th branch of the armed services. What are you doing there?
They're not even in DOD anymore. They're Homeland Security.
Actually, that's the Space Force.
Oh, Space Force. Okay, that's the 6th branch or 6th arm or 6th.
Hey, at least Space Force is DOD. Yes. For now.
Yeah. I wanted to add
know about that. Yeah, go ahead, Black.
Oh, I was just going to say, to add what we're saying about race and stuff, like, I see this in having served, you make jokes about each other's race, whatever, but it's because, like, it doesn't matter. Like we said, we're all green or whatever variant of military. And I think that's the point. And I think that's something to question, going forward, is like, it seems this is the way of empires. When they start taking over big swaths of land, they become multicultural, as far as ethnicities and whatnot, a melting pot of sorts.
Multi-ethnic is different than multicultural, and I've seen multi-ethnic states do pretty well for long periods of time, the Mongol Empire being one of the bigger ones. Multicultural doesn't go so well.
Yeah, those get blended as ideas. Yeah, so I'm glad you clarified that. But yeah, once you get, I would say they are kind of the same, multicultural, multi-ethnic, depending how much you're observing of your history. And I think, like, you kind of see the experiment doesn't work long term. If it's the focus, and they want that, they want the focus to be the skin color and whatnot. It's all bifurcating. Diversity is rooted in division. Now, there's a problem with homogenous states that never adapt, but when you have so much diversity of so many things you gotta bend the knee to and make months for and observe and have special ceremonies for that identity, instead of embracing the symbol of our nation, the flag, and that's offensive, that we're on a path to fail. And
which, the first time I heard that, the American flag is racist, you would not have wanted to be in the same fucking room as me. I got violently fucking angry because I have had friends come home draped in that flag.
You nailed it, Angus. The diversity issue is divisive. You're absolutely right. What's the first thing that's going to happen to soldiers, service members now, especially if they're in these combat arms units, somebody who did some amazing shit, who says, hey man, this fucking guy needs a Medal of Honor. He saved my fucking life, or anything else. What do you think is going to happen when they see this list and this article saying that we're going to focus on race? It's going to be extremely divisive. And the second anybody says anything about it, they're going to be labeled as a racist, because that's
no one wants to join the
You're
military.
not anti-racist, then you're racist.
No,
The
no,
guys
no, no,
who are
stay.
in, the guys who are holding out and trying to finish up their 20 are in right now and getting enraged. Their fucking morale's going to go down. Anybody who's serving under them, their morale's going to go down because they're seeing, oh, sergeant or first sergeant so-and-so is pissed off and hates the military. What do you think that's going to do to the entirety of our military?
Well, what do you think that's going to do to the young Joes coming in?
But you've already
like that is not an isolated attitude. Like young guys coming in, you've seen it. They adopt the mentality and attitude and motivation of the unit going in.
But you've already destroyed unit cohesion. You've done it with the trans stuff and everything else that's gone on.
Sexual harassment shit.
Yeah, I mean, the bringing in. Hey, what's up, Dermy Wermy? Bringing in different gender ideology into these units has already, and I like the Black Angus's term there, bifurcating. That's correct use of the English language. Thank you for that. But it's causing it's causing a great divide. And you're right. I mean, I couldn't have said it better, Soldier Spirit. You're killing morale. It's across the entire service. I mean, all of them, all the armed services. It's disgusting.
And it's not even just morale; it's also trust in not only your command and your leadership, but also your fellow soldiers. Like when I was in the Marine Corps, like there is not a fucking doubt in my mind, no matter what happened, that if I go down, my boys are going to be right there dragging me out. And I'd do the same for them. But nowadays, I don't know that mentality exists in the military.
Yeah.
And
Dermy, if you were doing a job and somebody said, you know what, you busted your ass harder than anyone else today, and you did, but because this person's black, we're going to give that person the raise instead. What do you think of that? How would you react?
Well, considering that is. Besides that final point, I am one of the people busting my ass the hardest at my day job right now. I would be livid, and the amount of anger and vitriol that I would spew out of my mouth would be on par with what I did to Tim Pool last night.
Yeah, which got you 12,000 views in one video.
13,000 views on a video, 13,159 views to be precise.
And I was one of those, by the way, my friend. So well done.
Oh, you were? Oh, thank you very much.
You roasted him good, and I was with you all the way. Yeah, I didn't get paid either, just so you know. For calling out.
I gotta say, Dermy's been putting in the work with his channel, and it shows. You've been killing it lately.
Yeah. That was I was not expecting that video to fly as far as
I think you figured out the algorithm, and being one of the first to get a video out makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, so the reason I asked you that question, Dermy, is because this is the topic that we're talking about. What do you think about this? I'm sure you know what the Medal of Honor is. Do you think the Medal of Honor should be decided based on your skin color?
No. What?
Yeah.
Wait, what? What? No, the Medal of Honor is quite literally given to merit, a man that deserves it, and sometimes it's you don't want it sometimes and things of that nature. But
the Medal of Color.
Well, I'll put it this way: 78% of the people who have ever been awarded that medal died in the attempt.
Yeah, it's a symbolic medal, but at the same time, you deserve it if you get it. It's not just, oh well, your skin color.
If you're even put in contention for it, you've done some pretty heroic shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you didn't die,
again,
you were
like I was
probably
saying earlier, it's not to say that anybody who's on the list they're considering right now, it's not to say that they don't deserve it, but are there not is there anyone else out there who deserves it more, but they're not going to get it this year because they decided to go with people of minorities instead? That's what's incredibly wrong in all this. And like we're talking about, this is just a killer for morale. This is really fucked up that when I became an NCO, there's a part in the Army NCO Creed that says that basically you will always award when deserving of an award and discipline when needing to be disciplined. In other words, if somebody did something wrong, but they still also did something great, then you still need to reward the achievement. Even if you don't like the person, you still need to award that achievement. And then it's also vice versa. So this goes into this category where they're awarding for the wrong reasons. You don't.
And they're
You don't
cheapening the
grow
metal by
bored
doing
because
so.
of skin color or anything. Yeah, there's just so many things wrong with this, and it's again, like we're saying, this is killing our military. On top of all the other woke shit, this is like we're saying, this is weekly woke shit in the military now that we're looking at, and it's killing our military, and it's just going to keep happening until we end up finding ourselves in a world war with China, Russia, and North Korea, and probably Iran. Who knows who else?
Well, on top
All
of that,
right, go ahead.
I just want to add it on top of that. What are we fighting for in the first place? What's the draw to join the military? College for 4 years after your term. There's no patriotic motive in this country now, because if you're patriotic, you're a January 6th insurrectionist. Like there's a conflation there. The military is just there's always been a business aspect to utilizing the military for the government, but there's always, like, historically, for regimes, there's a patriotic reinforcement regardless of those motives on top of it. Now, that kind of, in my view, is the only thing there. We just do things.
And that's an interesting difference between the Army and the Marine Corps in a lot of ways. Because when you look at it, our jobs, and for the most part, in the Army and Marines are largely the same. But the motivations for people joining the Marine Corps are very, very different than the Army.
I would have been a Marine, but I can't swim. So
in my experience, it's guys who legit wanted to serve the country or fight for the nation and signed up because that's what they wanted to do. And the Army tends to be a lot more, not self-motivated a little bit, like, not self-interested, but there's a lot of benefits without a lot of the hardship and, physical abuse that comes with being a Marine.
Yeah.
I think it's also different across different jobs within each branch too.
True,
like
I was in the infantry.
And I was going to hit on that. I was going to hit on
someone
that.
could be a maintenance
There's
guy
a reason
versus special forces.
Right. There's a reason why the Marines are the few, the proud Marines. You are one corps, while the Army is extremely massive. We have our guys who are extremely dedicated. They tend to be the ones who go into 75th Ranger Regiment, Green Beret, and all that kind of stuff. It's just that in the, they are a small percentage of the overall Army. So I understand completely why there is the appearance that the Marines will have of the Army and saying, okay, well, you're weaker. Yeah, a lot of the guys in the military are much weaker than Marines, but that's not to say we don't have our own badasses in the Green Berets. And
no, it's absolutely true. But I was just talking about the motivations that, like, just the guys I served with had, where, like, the guys I know from the Army, a lot of it was a lot more either self-interested or to get out of a situation in their lives, which I don't begrudge anyone, by the way. I think that's fucking awesome. In that you were in a bad situation in your life and the U.S. military was able to help you out of that and make you a better man for it. I love that shit. But a lot of the Marines I served with, it was a lot more patriotic and a lot more focused on the job than it was focused on after.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tina,
feel...
yes, awesome. Tina says my son is in favor of serving his country. He hopes to join the military or government agency after earning his bachelor in science, right, in biochemistry, May 24th. Well, that's definitely a smart way to go. If he's going to join the military, definitely go in, get some college behind you, and then get him into ROTC or OCS and go officer. You definitely, especially nowadays, you don't want to be enlisted.
That's about the only way I could recommend joining the military at this point.
Yeah.
I was going to hit on that. I in the career field I'm in the Air Force, we do a lot of our own vetting and recruiting, and all these guys that are coming in, because we get to vet them, they're the good PT athletes, the ones that are doing the best. We look for hard chargers. I feel sorry for them. They're at the beginning of their career, and just the stuff I see, I'm ready to get out.
Yeah, whenever I hear people want to
join, 4-year degree to fly.
That's not strictly true. We do have enlisted crewmen and warrant officers in our helicopters. A lot of people forget we have those.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was gonna go through warrant officer school and become a pilot. I definitely didn't need a degree to do that. But
I don't need a degree for my job. Me grunt, me make loud noise.
I don't know if I trust you in a helicopter now that I think about it.
Now you do need a
No, you
degree
should
to
trust
be an
any Marine with
officer.
a helicopter because you know what we're going to do with it.
You do need a degree
Well,
and be an officer to fly fighter jets. I know that.
Fighters, yes. We do have
oh yeah, no doubt.
warrant officers flying Cobras and other assorted aircraft.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for me, when I see
Same for the
people anticipating joining the military, I'm always hesitant because it's like, what are you serving anymore? Like on one side, there's like, I'm definitely like, don't do it, not for this government, not for the people of today. They do not care. It's for nothing. But then the other half is like, well, maybe we need that change, and trying to like refit the assignments. And so it's always a tug of war. I don't know if y'all have dealt with that yourself. If people have come across like, oh, I want to join the military. What do you think about it? And
I'm certainly on that level of like at one time simultaneously, like it's one of the best things I've ever done. I wouldn't change a minute of it, and I'm extremely proud of my service because it made me the man I am today, even outside of combat. But
yeah,
at the same time, I don't know that I could recommend joining the modern American military to anyone who's there for the actual mission. Because it seems like that's not what we do anymore.
But it's interesting you say that. And we talk about pop culture and how conservatives bailed on pop culture and then they completely took it over. Do you really want them completely taking over the military?
At a certain point,
that's the problem is that I see it the same way because it is so difficult to think that, well, the military has gone woke, it's weak, and everything they're doing is so wrong. So I would recommend not joining. But you're right. If we do that, then they are just going to take over completely. But unfortunately, that's already what happened because the entire leadership is in that woke mindset, in that destructive mindset. So it is really, it is a huge conundrum to say, I can't recommend joining, but at the same time, how can you suggest to somebody to put them through that when
that's the conundrum you're in? It's just like I love the military, I love the Marine Corps, and I would love for another generation of Marines to come through and do the nation as proud as we did. But I don't think the Corps itself, the Marines are there. The lower level Marines and soldiers are the same as they've ever been. Young, motivated, professional people who want to get the job done. The problem is their leadership is toxic as fuck at this point.
Oh, that's officers across the board at the top. They're all compromised. They'll suck anyone's dick to get promoted and get the position they want. It's just our military's been like that for a couple decades now. It's not anything new. It's just now the ones that get rewarded are the ones that are on board with this CRT nonsense.
But in our era when we first came in, at least most of the NCOs and lower level officers were still competent people. And were very mission focused we were in the middle of 2 wars. We're here to get the job done. And it seems like a lot of that has fallen by the wayside as we've gotten into the end of the 2010s here. I don't know if it looks different from where you're at.
I'm going to venture to say that most of the vets on this panel came in probably after 9/11, around that time period when we saw a big influx of people into the military.
Yes.
Yeah. I came in a little bit before 9/11, but yeah, I was there for that huge influx for sure.
It was crazy.
At 9/11.
What's that?
I was like in kindergarten or preschool during 9/11, so
I was
I
was 4th grade, 3rd grade.
God damn it! I feel old now. I joined in 08.
I was in college and I watched from one of my college classrooms. They put the TV on. I watched as the towers. They'd already fallen by that point, but like, I'm walking around from classes and I see people looking at stuff, looking at TVs, and I'm like, "What's going on?" But I was rushing to my next class and then sat down and people told me, "It's like, yeah, the towers are down." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, I was a freshman in high school.
So,
we were watching that.
So before we start telling all the stories, because that always happens whenever something brings us up, everybody starts telling 9/11 stories. And I would love to go around the horn and start doing that at some point. But Culture, you said that you have a lot of veteran friends, and I'm really curious what kind of stuff you've been hearing from your military folks about what's been going on with the wokeness.
Well, they're absolutely patently disgusted. Of course, I'm a bit older than y'all, so a lot of them never had to serve in a situation where they had to deal with this CRT crap that has infested the service. And in fact, a lot of them went into law enforcement and other, civil service gigs, so they could double dip, right? Because that's what they're planned to do. So,
It's a good gig if you can get it.
one of my Marine buddies, he became a sheriff's deputy, and he did wonders. Guy's amazing. He saw hell. Yeah, he saw that big influx you were talking about after 9/11. He was in there before 9/11, so his conversations are a little bit different than some people who came in afterwards. But his insight is just kind of it's kind of chilling because he knows people who work their way up through the service into some high level positions. They even those people are not necessarily super thrilled with the things that were going on in the military, and a lot of those guys are getting ready to retire, from what I'm to understand. But it's very strange. I mean, I'm so far removed from what's happening now versus what I know was happening when my family members were in, because again, I mean, you have older family members that serve, you've grandfathers, so on and so forth that served the military, aunts and uncles that were involved in all of that, and they're completely different than what people like y'all are dealing with or have dealt with because of all of this. So it's very strange. It's disgusting. But again, I mean, like I said, my one buddy, he was in and out, he says, there's no way I would have stayed. He's like, I wouldn't have, I had to run out, the next opportunity I had to bail. And that's a shame, because you're losing qualified people that,
Well, I mean, that's what I saw a lot of right about the 2012, 2013 mark.
Yeah.
Is a lot of guys who enlisted for the first wave of basically buildup in Iraq and Afghanistan, myself included. And, we're at the end of either our first or second enlistment, and we're seeing a lot of this bullshit start creeping its way in. And a lot of us just looked around and went, nah, man, this ain't it. We signed up to fight a war, not do any of this bullshit. I'm out.
And that's a problem, right? So let's clearly outline. In business, we would call this loss of institutional knowledge, right? When you have a mass exodus, which is a mass exodus of people that know what they're doing, how things work, and why everything's done the way it's done. And the minute that you lose that institutional knowledge, somebody else is going to have to learn that again, but they're going to learn it the hard way. And that is really not a winning strategy for, the military. And it's certainly not in business either. And again, that's where I always come from. It's like how.
And when you look at it, when I came in 2008, most of my sergeants and corporals had learned it the hard way and had lost a lot of friends doing so. There's a reason, if you look at the casualty lists from, day by day or even week by week for the first 5 years of the war, towards like 2008 to 2010, you see a massive tail off.
Yeah.
Because we started learning really, really fast what was going on and how to counter it.
Yeah.
So, and also the guys coming in like me were trained by veterans who had been through it. So we knew better than the new guys in the first wave. So, like you say, that loss of institutional knowledge, well, now those new privates coming in and those new corporals are going to have to learn it the hard way.
Well, and I don't care how much OCS or whatever training previous to getting into a position of authority you get, right? There's nothing like the on-the-ground, hard-nosed experience that you get, and somebody that can relate that to you is far more valuable. That's, again, it's the pussification of, the drill structure and everything else that has been relayed to us civilians. Whether or not that's true, I can't say, but people say basic is real soft now compared to the way it used to be.
Compared to what we went through, it is not even close.
Yeah.
No, that was one of the things that I think we talked about last week, Culture, was that they made the announcement recently that in the Army, the drill sergeants can't even yell anymore.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's the pussification. I that's probably not a word, but it's what I'm going to call it.
We're going to make it a word. We use that word.
I hate to do this. I really didn't want to step out early. Like I said, I was looking forward to the stream all day, and I would be more than grateful to come back again if you'll have me. But I have to get out of here. So,
oh yeah.
By the way, you guys didn't dive you did not dive too deeply into nomenclature. You didn't lose me at all. So well done. Thanks for conveying it to the stupid civilian. And I'll say it to all of you. Thank you for your service. I do appreciate it. And I know everybody else does as well. So thanks for having me, gentlemen.
Well,
And hopefully
we
I see y'all
appreciate you,
soon.
Culture. Thank you very much.
Love y'all. Bye.
Have a good one, Culture.
Later, man.
Love you, man. And everybody, Culture Casino's links, both his Twitter and YouTube, are in the description below. If you're not already subscribed, then subscribe and show him some love because he's awesome for coming on. Really appreciate him. All right.
One of the coolest men on the
Does
internet.
anybody else have anything else to chime in on that, or should we go ahead and move something a little bit more rosy topic? We'll talk about a movie.
Rosy
Yeah,
topic.
I could take good news.
All right.
I have some good news. I'm at 651 subs now.
Yeah, I just subbed you.
Yeah.
Oh, I thank you very much.
Someone else did too as well. You were at 649 when I clicked the button.
Ooh, thank you.
You got how many subs off of one video?
I got over 200 plus subs off of one video.
You motherfucker.
That's
more than I have.
That's amazing.
I told you
That
he's
is
been putting in
amazing.
the work. He's
Congratulations,
just
man.
been every like I think you got a big bump on the Velma stuff too.
Yeah, I got a huge bump on Velma.
You put the video out right after the episode or something.
I get up at 2 a.m. every Thursday to watch those 2 episodes. I'm looking forward. I am looking forward to this Thursday because it's the last time I have to do it. There's no
Well,
way that's giving a season 2. There's no way.
Oh, it's definitely getting season 2. It's got the numbers. Everyone's like, "This is awful. Let me watch it." Like,
the pain you're putting yourself through is working out though.
Yeah. It's a lot. That Tim Pool thing, though, that he nuked his own chat last night, and that was something you had to talk about. I'm sorry. I had to. I was angry because I was a supporter of him. I wasn't getting on him for not talking about it. I was wanting him to, but if he didn't, he didn't. He didn't talk about Jack Murphy. And what he did last night just destroyed me.
can you? I'm gonna watch your video, but I'm mostly out of the loop of all this Tim Pool stuff. I've never thought he was a great like leader for conservatism or anything. He's always been a fence sitter to me, but I don't quite understand what is at issue currently with him.
Gotta be a little careful, but Eliza Blue, have you heard about that?
Yeah.
So Eliza Blue got a huge bump because of Tim Pool. And people just wanted him to come out and basically say, hey, we know the Eliza situation, people are getting banned. It sucks. She should know better. Just come out with your story. That's it. That's all you have to say. But no, she went. He nuked his whole channel, his whole comment section last night and said everybody talking about it is nothing more than a paid for bot. And supposedly he continued on his members only thing that I'm hunting down a copy of because I don't want to pay for it. I don't. But he continued on with everything, bashing the quartering, saying that he threatened him.
Hail Sketchbook.
Bashing everybody. It was ridiculous, and I want to revel in this destruction right now.
Dude, I was watching Jeremy's live stream last night when that was happening live and his reaction to it, and I was like, "Holy shit, Tim's fucking going off the rails."
Mm-hmm.
I think anyone who's monetizing Tim's explosion last night are doing pretty well for themselves.
Yeah. The Reverend Ron King gained 200 subs from 50.
And this is why I decided to do heavy metal and stuff like that, because I hate capitalizing off of shit like this, where it's just backlash and degeneracy and people being assholes to each other, and I hate the fact that people are successful because of it. But good on you guys.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Hey, I think exactly. It's like Jeremy always
You
said.
think
Don't
everyone
hate
should
the
bash
player,
the
hate the
quartering?
game. Yeah.
Some people think that quartering is similar to Tim Pool, controversial characters. People are free to have their opinions, but
People think he's a drama queen, but he just reports on shit. That's what he does, and it's relevant shit that people want him to keep reporting on.
Tim Pool went off the edge last night. It was insane.
They
They were making fun of his.
Going a little far before, and he hit a new level yesterday.
I watched Tim Pool a few years ago, especially when Krigler was on there with him, and Krigler was kind of the high spot of that show, especially when he had that point where he had his red pill moment where he's like, you know what, I'm voting Republican this time. I was like, this is awesome. And
Well,
then
that was
when
Krigler- that was
when Krigler
Krigler's
just
special
see
power,
what Tina
essentially,
just
was he
said?
was
Yeah.
the voice of the audience, essentially. In that
And
he
when-
was
and when-
asking the same questions a lot of people watching the show were.
Pool
And I see
tweeted
what
that
Tina
don't
just
have
said.
a
something today
traditional
about
political
loving the
education,
opportunity to
don't
take subscribers'
understand what's
money
going on.
over this topic.
Yeah, he thinks 100% everybody that's been bombing his super chats and stuff is the quartering. He thinks everything surrounding the quartering. The quartering's the one pushing all this drama, while simultaneously being part of a PR firm that we're all getting paid for.
Yeah, that
Where's
was
that
an
check?
interesting rant. I'm like, buddy, you're going a little tinfoil hat mode on this one.
Mhm. He
Well,
went
I heard
next
I
level.
heard Az say something about Tim today. He basically described his journey with Tim, and he's like, same as mine. When I first discovered him, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, and Krigler's kind of cool, and then like, okay, he's starting to sound the same as the mainstream media, just trying to keep you in fear of everything that's going on. The dude's never doesn't have any levity. He's always just super serious, as opposed to someone like Crowder. I like Crowder. I mean, he
do
makes
too.
jokes. They laugh. They,
That's one of the things I've always liked about Crowder is no matter how much you can tell he believes in the subject matter and it is something that's very important to him, nothing is too important to make a joke about.
Yeah.
And, that's kind of our sense of humor is that, we'll joke about some pretty dark shit. But that's because we, have to.
You need to have levity. You can't be down and serious all the time. I was only using Tim Pool recently just for a news topic. If something came up, I'd like to know about it. After last night, I unsubbed from everything. I'm no longer listening to him.
I've never been a big subscriber of his. Like, I watch a video of his every now and again, and his takes are usually pretty decent on some things. Unless he gets way out of his knowledge base and starts
some of
talking
his
about
videos. Some of his videos he makes, and he'll make assumptions on both sides of the spectrum, and then he'll waffle back and forth, and then he'll say, or maybe they're not. He like.
Well, that was one of the things that annoyed me about him is he'll make leaps of logic that really aren't there.
But then he'll cover himself by saying, "But maybe we're not."
Yeah, and then he'll back off on it. Like, what?
We're going to civil war.
Like that. You better stand by it.
We're heading towards civil war, and then maybe we're not.
World War III, Civil War, and World War III.
Well, I have a similar analysis to him, but my analysis is usually, I really fucking hope I'm not seeing what I think I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never watched much of him either, but he had Alex Stein on I think a couple months ago, and he was so I don't think he was rude, but he was condescending and to him because Alex Stein was bringing up conspiracy type stuff. First time I saw Alex Stein was on Alex Jones, so clearly he is a conspiracy guy. But man, he was so condescending to him, talking down to him because you believe in this conspiracy theory, and then throwing all these smart words to make him sound smart. But it's like, man, he was such a dick. So yeah, that was the last time I saw him until Crowder was on with him.
Alex Stein is a gift to humanity.
He is a god tier troll.
Yes.
What was it with AOC? Was it Big Booty Latina?
His favorite Big Booty Latina.
I loved it.
And it's exactly like one of the that guy in your squad that has absolutely no filter and will just say whatever comes into his head. That reminded me of that in that moment.
Sure that's not all of them?
There's one of Alex's friends is right next to him going, "Oh fuck."
Cecil.
Tim
I love how Cecil just
only
goes
for
around.
a drinking game. That's great.
Yeah, right now that's his only use. He's like the State of the Unions tonight. I'm gonna watch Nick Rekieta go over it. Nick Rekieta, I can at least have fun watching him as I fall into
something
depression.
like that, especially with with Biden, especially. I'm like, there's no way I can actually suffer through and watch the entire thing. I'll watch the low lights later on and see how many gas
the highlights.
There is not a dude. I was actually gonna suggest that the other day when I'm like, we should just do a kind of drunken Mystery Science Theater 3000 reaction to it, but there's not enough booze and we would probably all die before the end of the
I
speech.
still have work tomorrow. I kind of
It would be a fun drinking game.
It would.
It would be the last thing any of us ever did, but at least our deaths would be televised.
Yeah, Nano Reaper Tim
All right.
Pools, I've noticed that with him. He's very much the fear porn of mainstream media. He leans into that. It's a sell to like, ooh, tune in. The Civil War is happening. Oh, you gotta.
It's too much. I don't want to be depressed all the time. Give me the news. That's it. That's all I want is the basic news. Crowder's not around for right now. And my God, I want him back. But I need somebody. And that all I had was Tim Pool because Krigler's doing stuff on Rumble.
And the magic power that Crowder always had was that he could make the serious topics fun.
Mm-hmm.
And seem not that scary because we're willing to make fun of it.
I suggest Dan Bongino too. Like I bring him up all the time, but he is my go-to. I get more information from that guy than anyone else because he has all the experience.
And you know
to back
who's
it up,
surprisingly really plugged in? Razor Fist.
I might start.
Razor knows a lot about a lot of shit. He is one of the few guys who's more plugged into that than I am.
And also Barnes.
All right, let's move on to some pop culture. Let's talk about this movie, guys.
Speaking of pop culture and Razor Fist, I got this in the mail today.
Ooh.
What'd you get?
I forgot to pre-order that, and I feel bad. I wanted to get it.
Signed copy, too. I haven't read it yet, but I will let you guys know what I think on that in probably the next 24 hours.
Okay.
Sweet. So what's this movie? I don't know if I've heard of it.
So yeah, it's called The Covenant, and it follows a JTAC, which is a Air Force. Are they considered special operations?
I think so. When I was looking up,
no, but they are attached to.
Well, they are now. So the TACP, because Air Force Special Warfare is what they call it now. They used to be called Battlefield Airmen. So they took CCT, they took PJs, and they took TACP, and they all put them together under a new label called Special Warfare.
Okay, because I was going to say, when I was in, JTACs were not special forces. They were just issued out to whatever units were going to be operating in an area that had.
However, we do still support conventional Army. That mission never went away, but they lumped us all together with CCT, PJ, TACP all in one. Under one label.
So they just kind of put you guys all in one bucket at this point because those all used to be different pipelines.
Well, so the way they do it now is the initial school, like before they split you off into you're going TACP, you're going PJ. They all lump them together in like a preschool, and that's where they kind of weed out if you're not going to make it or whatever. And then they go into their pipelines for their individual jobs that they're going to be doing.
So to be clear, I'm not sure if the fact that the characters of JTAC really applies to the story. He's just clearly a highly trained individual that they might just be throwing JTAC in there. I just think it's cool because I think I love the JTACs I worked with are great guys, and I think that they deserve some attention. But yeah, let's go ahead and play this trailer and see what everyone's reaction is. I'm gonna
the JTACs that we worked with were some of the most switched on dudes you'll ever see.
Oh yeah. You know,
Absolutely.
this is one of the things I find really dismissive for anyone who says, "Oh, you're Air Force, you just a little pussy or whatever." There's some badass fucking.
Those are some of the few.
Right?
Them and the PJs are the Air Force guys will actually throw down for.
Right. Okay, so I'm gonna share.
Yeah, and
here. Let me know if
we have Army units that will do more for us than our own Air Force will do as far as trying to take care of us.
Oh God, yeah, it's the same with the Navy and the Marine Corps, where we treat our corpsmen like Marines. We don't treat them like attachments.
Right. Okay. Let me know if you guys can hear this because I'm not sure. I think I've got it set up right.
Yeah, I hear it.
That's good.
Okay.
John, you have tallies approaching.
Still don't remember a thing.
Subscribe.
I don't remember any of it.
So right off the bat, I mean, talking about tallies, so it's got to be Afghanistan.
Well,
let me ask,
technically, no.
Let me ask a question: is this based on a true story, or is this kind of is this a fiction?
No, As far as I can tell, it's not based on a true story. This is made by Guy Richie. It's just
written
that
by him.
really the story really sounds very similar to kind of, especially the withdrawal. Like you had all those veterans who signed up to volunteer to go into Afghanistan to get Americans out after the quote unquote withdrawal went to shit. And I think that there's
Tim Kennedy
maybe
on
this story
Rogan?
was written. I don't know.
There was a guy on Rogan recently that did this. So.
Yeah, I know there was a whole bunch of them. I was actually talking to a couple of them about joining up, but I never ended up doing it.
So my point is, I think this is kind of inspired by that. So we'll keep on going. You'll see what I'm talking about.
I only remember the interpreter. Why you want this job?
I need the money.
Don't disappoint and turn out to be a pain in the ass.
No, not me, sir.
Yeah, how many interpreters did you ever actually see that was that serious? They were all pain in the asses. Every interpreter I ever worked with was like a little smart ass all the fucking time.
No, I mean we had a couple that were pretty locked on, but that's because we got them that way after we beat the crap out of them a couple of times for joking around and being a pain in the ass.
Fair enough.
I think I was around 2 or 3. They were all pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that they were a real pain in the ass. I'm saying like we had one. We did a patrol down a street in Kirkuk, and I looked back. The interpreter was right behind me, and all of a sudden he was gone. I had to go down. I had to tell everybody hold up. And went down an alleyway. He went around the corner to go to a shop to buy fucking fruit or some shit.
That would be the most of it. Was just like, hey, pay attention. We're on fucking patrol.
Yeah, you're not home shopping at the fucking store or whatever. Yeah. Some of them had to be squared away.
It was a completely different culture over there. Where it's just like, dude, like, get your game face on. People are gonna try to kill us.
Stop the vehicle, Sergeant.
We don't want to go down this road.
You're out of your bounds, Ahmed. You're here to translate.
Actually, I'm here to interpret.
John, you have tallies approaching.
Well, I won't buy.
That interpreter's a badass.
Yeah, I would not feel comfortable
with
I would not feel comfortable with an interpreter having a weapon. I'd instantly be on guard, and so very interesting.
Ours had weapons, but it was made perfectly clear to them they act squirrely with it in any way, shape, or form, and they are dead on the spot.
See, I think it was a matter of policy that ours could not have. We had a couple of times they would ask if we were going on a really dangerous mission. They like one time this guy was begging to be given a weapon. Like, no, dude, you can't fucking have a weapon.
Ours weren't supposed to, but we used to let them.
Okay, so that's fair. Yeah, so it still is a matter of policy. I don't think they were allowed to, but yeah, I could see in some cases. Yeah, if you guys want to give them to them. Then you do it. But yeah, if I had to guess,
the commander just kind of let it, hey, if you guys are cool with it, do it. But if not,
yeah. I'm guessing in this scene, it looked like that maybe he grabbed that AK from one of the tallies or something like that, and maybe he was packing the pistol. But in any case, yeah.
For 3 weeks, this family believed you were dead. We owe that man your life.
There wasn't enough for him to carry me across those mountains. Now he's hiding in a hole somewhere. I should be in that hole.
You could stand me up at the gates of hell.
Everything all right, John? No, everything's not all right. There is a hook in me. Ahmed and his family are in trouble. Intervene. I am gonna have to get him out myself.
See, so that's what I was getting at. It's one thing this guy went through hell to save Jake Gyllenhaal's character here, his life, and when he came back, he is being told he can't go out there to save his friend who saved his life. And yeah, what do you guys think of that?
Yeah,
I'm getting major Hurt Locker vibes off of it, man.
Sounds interesting.
I'm not
There's a
saying
lot
it's going to
of-
be that bad, but it seems like the kind of Hollywood beefed up story that they want to tell that has nothing to do with what that guy's job actually is.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, yeah, if we're talking about like what your qualifications are for a JTAC. Of course, it's not something you do, but he's still, he's still a highly trained combat soldier. Yeah, his job is specifically to call in airstrikes, but the guy is still, the guy's a badass. JTACs don't fuck around. But yeah, I get what you're saying. This is the same thing in the category like what was it, the Godzilla movie when
the EOD guy. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
yeah, the guy was a Navy EOD and they had him fighting like he was a fucking Delta operator.
So don't get me wrong, I've fought with some Navy EOD guys, and most of them are pretty decent. A lot of them are retired Marines, actually, or former Marines that went blue side. But yeah.
I'm still thinking this looks like a good movie. Let's keep going, see how.
I'll go with cautious optimism.
Listen, you're gonna be alone. There ain't no. You gotta adapt. Use what you got.
If you can give me the location, if I can get him out of the country, it's too dangerous. You've become very popular with the Taliban.
You know what this is? This is a rip-off of Lone Survivor.
I was thinking that a bit.
This is a rip-off of Lone Survivor. At least the story.
And that's another thing I was thinking too. Yeah, that's another thing, especially when showing all the scenes when the interpreter saves his life. That looked exactly like the scenes from what happened with Lone Survivor at the end when the village saved him.
This is a lot of parallels to our pull out of Afghanistan. I'm curious if they're going to go into that at all, like the political side of it. They're brush right over that.
Again,
Biden
I think
did the
that
right decision.
This might the writing of this might have been inspired by that, is what I'm thinking. If I had to guess, this probably will have absolutely nothing to connect with that at all. But I think that this story looks like it might have been inspired by it. And again,
it might have.
Maybe they also took some elements of Lone Survivor and thrown that in there too. But go ahead, Angus. What were we saying?
Oh, this film, I saw the trailer in theater first because I saw you talking about it in the vets thing, but then I watched it because I saw Knock at the Cabin yesterday, and I'm like, okay, this is what we'll talk about tomorrow, and I'm honestly not interested. Like, I love Jake Gyllenhaal; he's a great indie film actor. He does some really good deep roles.
This trailer just rubs me the wrong way.
And this one, it feels weird because this is Hollywood trying to be like, yeah, look at this great soldier or whatever, just he's a JTAC whatever, but soldier for civilian's sake. He's a soldier going back to save a guy he's got a connection with. He's going against the grain, and it's heartwarming, and he's risking himself. But this is the same shit that we've been told is toxic, that we need to clean this out of the military. And so, like, I just get weird mixed signals because this is from Hollywood, and there's this total thing against the culture that makes a soldier that would be able to even do this. And also it's got like no political awareness in its story, at least from this trailer with the Afghanistan debacle. And so, like,
which, given the timeline, this movie
it feels
might
soft.
have been
It
being
feels
written
soft
before that even happened.
It feels soft, and so I'm not interested. If I hear really good things, then maybe I'll give it a chance. Gyllenhaal definitely piques my interest, and Homelander's in here too for a supporting character.
True.
But yeah, I'm not sold. I'd rather just watch The Boys season 4.
I would, if I had to recommend an Afghan war movie, I would much rather give you guys The Outpost than this, just based on the trailer.
That's fair. Well, let's go ahead and just finish this up, and then we'll make our final decision.
You think if I could be free of this debt, I would be? You think I have a choice? There is no choice.
No, I won't back down.
You know what? I'll give it
you
a
guys are
shot.
not
I like
impressed.
Guy Ritchie. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I'll give it a shot, but it does seem very. It actually seems very old school Hollywood with pushing the action movie stuff. But like you were saying, it goes counter to what Hollywood seems to be pushing these days.
I don't trust it for 1 second.
I would like to just be on board, but
And not to
I'm
mention,
a big
the trailer has all of the douchey Hollywood action movie stereotype from like the country movie or the country music artist doing a cappella version of a rock song, essentially with a slow piano in the background. Like, oh my god, this thing is so mid 2010s shitty action movie. It's fucking horrible.
You have Jake Gyllenhaal go like, "I'm gonna do it, man."
Yeah, look into the camera really aggressively and speak huskily. Just like, oh god.
I wish I didn't have this dead.
Like, you know that uplifting Tom Petty ballad? Well, let's make it grim like Johnny Cash.
Yeah, let's make it grim dark.
It's like,
and,
what
and
the
also
fuck is it? Like,
ass.
as soon as I hear
like
something
Johnny
like that,
Cash's
I'm like,
version better.
Get out of here.
Let's face
Get
it.
outta
Like,
here.
how can you make a Tom Petty song, especially stand sound that shitty and depressing? That's impressive.
Yeah,
actually, that's
it's not even
skill.
inspiring. Like, as far as the
Yeah.
aesthetics around what they're showing, that song choice is not inspiring at all. It sounds like, well, this is going to end like Southpaw, but military.
Yeah.
Hell, Johnny Cash's version still was inspiring. This was just.
Yeah, they need to Hollywood is when they comes to war movies, they need to take a lesson from Band of Brothers and just how they showed the troops interacting with each other and with their officers, and it's just
Well, the problem
Or
with
Black
that,
Hawk
the
Down
difference
is
with that
great,
was
too.
they had the original guys telling them how shit was. And most of them were still alive then, telling them how it was going to be. And if it wasn't good enough for winners and some of the other survivors, the scene got fucking redone. Because they actually had some integrity and some willingness to stick to the actual story rather than trying to make their own.
I mean, even Saving Private Ryan, which wasn't based on a true story, it was still, you saw the camaraderie between the troops, but it wasn't like all the tropes from Hollywood action movies. You know?
Yeah. Now, I will say some of the tactics and some of the scenes in Saving Private Ryan make no sense. Like, you know, that famous scene where they're all walking along a ridgeline.
Yeah, you wouldn't do
How
that.
many grunts do you know that do that?
They silhouetted themselves.
Yeah, like rule number 1 of infantry combat: don't ever fucking do that.
Who committed blasphemy by saying former Marine?
I wonder if that was
me. but-
Pope.
No, Pope's not a former Marine. He's still a jughead.
Jarhead.
I said jughead.
Yes, you did it. That is incorrect.
Tired. Give me a break. I was calling you a moron.
Oh,
that you can. All you have to do is say jarhead. It's a term of endearment and an insult at the same time.
Listen, I'm a jughead too, so don't worry. I'm special.
A Jughead who's killing it on YouTube.
Oddly enough, yeah, I was
That's
not
right.
expecting to have this good of a day. I really wasn't. It was flat for weeks now.
I think everyone was looking for that Tim Pool that Tim Pool magic that's going on right now.
And it seems like so many channels were just sitting there in the corner, like, because I hadn't heard anything from them on it for like a week. And then as soon as this shit happened, like the last day or two, they've been all over it. It was almost just like, wait for it.
Hold.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna
Fire!
get worse.
The content gods provide. There will be a drought, and when there's a drought, they will present you with a gem the size of Frosk.
Well,
it is beautiful.
Wait, hey, I forgot this. Tim Pool tried to say on Twitter that Muse was coordinating to like undermine his music success. And it's like, this means the band that gets like 250 million views.
So
Also,
I don't think they
I've
care
watched
about
your
you,
music
Tim.
video. I don't sing because I sound worse than that, but I don't sing for that reason.
when it comes to Will of the People, there's evidence that maybe, but it's so you have shots and moments and just the overall tone. It kind of sounds similar, but I can't go as far as he was going, saying they're trying to steal from him.
Like if he was just saying the industry is coordinating to suppress someone like me getting out there, fine, that's totally believable. I wouldn't doubt that. When you say a specific band's targeting you, like I don't think you're worth their time. They're established. They're fine, unless you just had like some like punk rocker that's like bought the narrative. Someone like oh fuck, what's that one band? They're like total sellouts.
Rage Against the Machine.
Rage, yeah, Rage for the
I was
Machine.
just gonna say, like, every punk band that still exists, because punk is dead.
Yeah,
They're all either
there's
turned into
bands
sellouts
since
or
the last decade.
they've done something else.
They were only against the machine because it wasn't their politics.
They're only against the machine because it wasn't paying them yet.
Whatever happened to rock and roll?
Rock and roll is still fine. You just need to listen to the right bands.
You got to
That's
find
what I'm here for.
stuff. Like mainstream, yeah, it's dead for now. But that's probably.
No, I mean it's coming
Yeah,
back.
it is
The heavy metal scene is fucking booming right now. There's an entire new wave of traditional heavy metal coming out of mostly Scandinavia, but also Canada and the US. That's going back to like the high points of the 80s. With more like the power and speed metal side of the house. And, I could go on about that actually, I've done an entire 2-hour stream on it.
I love I love Dan Vest's power metal music.
Hell yeah. I want to get him on the show so bad. I would love to talk to him.
That would be awesome.
So real quick,
I want to make
before we
fun
keep
of
on
his,
moving
I want to make
on,
fun of his
Guy
accent.
Richie's The Covenant. Is that a big nay from everybody?
That's kind of a...
Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of eh.
Yeah.
I'll wait.
When I
I'll
first
probably
saw
watch
the
it.
trailer earlier, I'm like, it looks like it could be good action. It might be a decent story as far as wanting to go risk your life to save a friend. But you guys are right that it looks very Hollywood with the way that they're doing it. It could be a whole lot of appeasing of the normies out there who don't understand how the military really works. And yeah, I'm much less excited about it than I was earlier. You guys,
we're gonna save you $10.
Yes. Yeah,
Just
that'll
wait till
probably
China or
wait
Russia
until
pirates it.
comes out on HBO Go. Yeah,
I was a big fan of Guy Richie earlier on, like Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels, a bunch of those movies. This does not seem like the movies he was making 20 years ago.
Nano Reaper's not going to see
Well,
it.
Jake Gyllenhaal is also a weird dude because he did another movie recently that it looks interesting, but I had no interest at the same time to go see it. It was Ambulance.
Oh, yeah, that was
intense.
Yeah, that was all right.
But I had no interest at the same time. It's like if I see it,
It's a
I see
decent
it. I
movie.
don't.
It's a decent movie. Yeah, it's worth watch.
Okay. Is it better than Bullet Train?
No.
Whoa.
No.
Wait, are you Bullet Train hater?
Fantastic.
No,
Yeah,
I'm a
that's
lover.
Amazing. Okay, because
that
I
is-
watched it with the Rookie Critic the other day, and I'm like, dude, this movie has like 54 on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, what the hell? This makes no sense. It's in Asia. It's got a varied diversity cast. It's got female agency in some of the characters, and Brad Pitt, the white man's handler, is a woman, and 54. So it's like I'm just like, what do you want when you see a movie? Because I don't know what the problem with this movie is critically.
It was actually really. Bullet Train is a fantastic movie. It's smarter than it lets on. It has maybe one like woke line where he's like, "I'm mansplaining to you," but it was kind of funny when he said it too.
That felt self-aware. It felt like Deadpool 2 when
Oh, hey,
he makes
Trucker
some
Rob.
crack at the wokesters.
Hey, Trucker Rob.
How's it going, buddy? We were just talking about the Coast Guard earlier.
Wow. I mean, it's better than National
Oh
Guard.
my god. My Beavers unit put a tweet. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can find that.
While you're looking for that, I did love the Channing Tatum self trolling or what have you, self degradation of is this like a sex thing? Repeatedly, it wasn't just the one time. He doubles down on it as a joke, and it's like
I like how you were talking about the movie's a little self-aware, especially with the mansplaining comment. So it reminds me of.
I do like Channing Tatum because he's self-aware. At least he knows what he is, and he knows why he is, and he makes jokes about it.
It reminds me of the show Tulsa King because I don't know if you guys have seen that. Great show.
Oh my god, I write it down. I keep forgetting.
Sylvester Stallone is so self-aware in that movie. He's been in prison for 25 years. When he comes out, he's making fun of all this woke stuff, makes fun of pronouns, and the way he does it is hilarious.
Is it kind of like Cobra Kai?
I was just about to ask.
Similar, but there's not a lot of woke in it. The woke that's in it is
pretty good too.
Yeah, there's not a lot of woke in it, and the woke that's in it is them making fun of it, making light of it. So it's worth it. And it's Stallone being pure Stallone. So if you haven't seen it, go see it.
I'll check it out.
And he also did Samaritan on Amazon Prime. What was that, a year ago? That's actually pretty decent.
Well, it came out about 6 months ago. It's decent. It's not. I mean, nothing that'll blow you away. It doesn't reinvent the wheel,
but it's all right.
Yeah, it was.
He did a good job.
And you see the twist coming at the end, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, they telegraphed that wicked hard towards the front of the movie.
Yeah,
but
I was just thinking about Bullet King, freaking Tangerine and Lemon. I didn't know where that was going to go, and then by the end of their story as characters, I'm like, oh my god! I would never think that I would be so invested in these two guys from the start of the movie.
You don't expect who you're going to be invested in.
It's not really.
I ended up getting invested with the Elder a whole lot. Just his story.
All right.
What are you getting at, Soldier
I'm
Spirit?
the best. Bitch, Tom Hanks does a couple little movies where he's in the army and all of a sudden y'all think y'all the shit. Bitch, you're like Aquaman in the Justice League. Useless. Personally, though, from me, though, I wouldn't take that disrespect. Air Force, ain't nobody talking to you, bitch! Hey, don't get mad at me, Seaman. Seaman. Wow, really mature, guys. Bitch, I don't get paid to be mature. I get paid to blow shit up from very far away. Fellas, I know we're all in different branches, but we're all a part of the same team. Bitch, if you don't get your nerdy ass out of here, like for real, bitch, you couldn't even save George Clooney and Mark Wahlberg in Perfect Storm. You are the Gilligan's Island of military branches, bitch. Just so we're clear, am I Gilligan or Skip? Bitch, get the fuck out of here! Bitch, where's that music coming from? Ha ha. Ooh rah. That is not your slogan, bitch!
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh man.
For a moment there, the Air Force guy, that really did sound like Raster, didn't it?
The accent, yeah.
That little bit
Unfortunately, wasn't
with the Coast Guard and Perfect Storm, it's like, oh my god!
That was pretty sick.
Always
I'm
pisses
like,
me off. Where it's like, you suck. You die yourself.
I don't know.
All right,
I'm the Taco Bell.
That's one of those even the Marines looking at it like, oh, that one seems unfair.
Say "oorah," Dermy.
No, I'm not that dumb. You're gonna yell at me.
Just say it.
I just watched. Hoorah! Happy.
It's better
I'm
than.
expecting you to berate me some more. That's
It's
what
better.
No, you should do like Ron Burgundy, like hoorah.
You know, the hoorah is better than the army and their hoo-ha.
Oh man, yeah, I used to
Hoorah,
mock it
Sergeant.
myself, man. Like I'd be like hoo-ha, and you'd have the drill part. It's like, don't say it like that. And it's like, dude, you take your shit. You've not even been deployed. Do not talk to me.
Everyone else reads "ura" and they think of it like, just like it's like the army with hua or whatever else. They don't say it right. it's almost like, you know, if anyone else here is a 40K nerd and, you know, the orc saying, why? Like you don't ever say it.
It's all about how you say it. But here's one of the funniest things I ever saw. One of the best jokes a Marine has ever made, and of all things, it was written on the side of a bathroom stall when I was in Camp Fallujah in Iraq.
Wagner
and
loves
it
the
said,
cock.
What's the difference between hua and ura? One has a cock in its mouth. Well done, Marine. Well done.
You
I'll
know,
give that to you. I'll give that to you.
Those deployed bathroom stalls are some of the best reading.
Oh, every single day.
Some of the best artistry, too.
It was littered with jokes, and every single day you're just scanning around. Okay, where's the new one? Where's the new? Ah, there you go.
I think in almost 80% of the porta shitters I was ever in, both stateside and overseas, there was like so and so. Usually Wagner loves the cock somewhere. I don't know where Wagner loves the cock became a meme, but it became our Kilroy was here.
Apparently, Wagner gets around.
Apparently.
All right. Well, speaking of getting around, let's go around the horn and wrap this up, guys. So, not a whole lot last. I think Tuesday is going to continue to be more of a political, serious conversation kind of day. So everybody who wants to get out here for the really sick, funny stuff, make sure you check out Skinamax Saturday at 10 o'clock Eastern. But let's go around. Let's start with Horny Alf, our Mr. Air Force man. All proud, of course, with his JTAC in the movie coming up. Give me some pride there.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that. No, thanks for having me on again. You can find me on Twitter, dropping memes. You can find me on Soldier streams. You can also find me on the Legion of Memers streams, usually on Saturdays. But yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Great to have you on every single time. Also, Mr. Dermy Wermy is becoming our regular civilian attendee of these streams.
Civilian punching bag?
Yes, I'm the civilian punching bag who, you know, I'm here. No, hi, I love being here, guys. You got a purty mouth. Anyways, hi. I love being on these streams. I love hanging out with you guys. Check me out. I'm blowing up on YouTube. I put out 2 to 3 videos a day, sometimes 4. I also do live streams, stuff like that. Check me out on the meme stream. Check me out over here at Vets Talking. Drop the G and you'll find this dude. And yeah.
Thank you. Very well done.
Hey, Phil.
Hey, Phil.
Welcome, Commander Phil. Yeah, you're showing up right at the end there, buddy. Better late than never. Yeah, thank you, Dermy. Dude, everyone make sure you check out Dermy's channel. He really is. His channel's exploding. He is doing amazing fucking work.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll admit it. I'm lovable and I'm plushy.
Oh my god, this is like everything is
like a lot of the girls you guys have told me are barracks bunnies. I'm plush.
I wish I could debate that, but I can't.
Yeah, we'll tell more.
Did he just freeze for everybody?
We'll get into military story time another day. We got to tell some barracks bunny stories.
Lag again.
At
least it's not
just completely gone or what?
No, you're cutting in and out. You this is because you use a Mac?
Yes.
Hello?
I will absolutely accept that's because I'm using the Mac.
Yes.
All right. Can you hear me now? Looks like I'm seeing better bars. Okay. I'm back, right?
Yes.
Yep. You sound fluid now.
Okay. Yes. The highly organized stream. Thank you, Trucker Rob. Welcome.
Trucker Rob, are any of us highly organized? Like, seriously.
I expect absolute shit every single time we come out. I don't know why you guys are here. Why are you guys here? This show stinks.
Because we thrive on the chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos theory, man. All right. Angus, as we know you as something else, I don't know if you want that name out there, if you want to shoot.
I have no problem. Yeah. I used to have a Black Angus
Gator.
Twitter. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Meth Gator 23 because that's a comic I'm trying to save up and create. Hopefully by the end of the year, I'll accrue that money. So yeah, I'm an OG Comicsgate follower. I came up with The Last Jedi and the Phantom Menace. I cover pop culture. Star Wars is always something dear to me. Not really recently, but me and Murky are starting to finally watch Andor, and what a good first episode. Nothing to write home about really, but it's just good. And there's no Easter eggs, so that's nice. But yeah, I cover pop culture, Star Wars if it really tickles my fancy. That's a wheelhouse. A little bit of comics, and things like the Eliza Blue. If I'm informed enough, and if I have time, I'll talk about that. Just did a review of Knock at the Cabin, M. Night Shyamalan's newest film. Really loved it. Pretty intense, pretty contained. It's very much like The Witch or The Shining in the sense that it is almost exclusively contained on one set. The way everything progresses, you get little tidbits of the outside world. I give you a non-spoiler review. Check it out if you're interested. I suggest watching it. If something like Bill and Frank and The Last of Us really bothered you, if that's woke to you, then I suggest don't watch it because homosexuality is an element of the main characters. So you get that one, but I don't think it's woke at all. It doesn't feel agenda. So yeah, that's whatever tickles my fancy. And I thank you, Soldier Spirit, for having me on and this good panel. My time in the military.
Would I see this?
No. But my time in the military was not good as far as camaraderie. Like there is a understanding I have with soldiers and military vets and whatnot, but I never had a real friendship built with anybody. Part of that was just my unit dissolving, moving to drum. Then I got married, wasn't in the barracks. I was in a medac tiny unit. So a lot of factors like that. I just never had close camaraderie with anybody. And this stream kind of felt like what I would expect going into the military. That was far and few between. So this was like very rewarding for something that's kind of been just completely void in my life with the military aspect. So I want to support y'all more. I thought I was already subbed when I found and got in the chat and stuff. So sorry about that, Soldier Spirit. But yeah,
It's all good, buddy.
Want to support all these channels here and interact with you more. So join me Thursdays, me and the Rookie Critic, and sometimes guests. We do a weekly stream, so hop in there.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's great to have you on. I've been, I know it's just been one thing after another. I know you work a lot, so it's all good. But it is great to have you on here, man. And thank you. That I love that compliment. That really does mean a lot to me because I feel very similar in that I didn't know what to expect in creating this channel, and I've gotten a lot of feedback that this does. It's not just the stories. It's not just entertainment because we're just a bunch of fucking dumbasses here. We're cracking jokes and just trying to be not even trying to be entertained. We're just being ourselves. But I have gotten a lot of the feedback that this does have like a sense of camaraderie. It's a connection to what we had in the past in the military and reliving some of the fun aspects of the hell that we went through. And that means a lot, man. I really appreciate that. And I hope that you'll be able to come back on more often. That'd be great.
Yeah, no, I hope to get y'all on my streams. And I plan to do more streams.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully we'll get some Kickstarter, Indiegogo campaign.
And if you guys really miss the service that bad, we could always go find a broom or whatever to have you guys prop up.
All right, Mr. Resident Marine. Oorah. Where can everybody find you?
Guys. I am Pope Metallicus the First. I run my own little channel where I talk about heavy metal and heavy metal things. Once a week, on a show called Rock and Roll Religion. Sundays at 4 or 5, depending on the guest. Usually, this week we are going to be discussing one of the founders of power metal, the mighty Blind Guardian. So we are going to be going through their first 6 records. So hopefully you guys will join me for that. I think I'm only a few subs away from 150. So, I'm actually getting up there, which I never thought was going to happen. So people actually show up to watch me run my mouth.
You're also over on Rumble, so that's
yes, I am also over on Rumble. where I am going to start doing more exclusive content, because I believe that is where our side of the internet is going to end up eventually. And it's, I think, where we need to at least have a presence over on that side, because I don't see YouTube getting any better. So
yeah,
I do
and
like to advocate that.
Same, because again, after being on Comics Division, thankfully they made a push to get enough people to subscribe to the Vets Talkin Rumble channel that we can start live streaming over there. And we're going to start doing the same thing. I got to figure out a format, what day and everything we want to do that. Maybe we'll do like an hour for Vets Talkin Tuesday on here and then cut over there. But in any case, we're going to work something like that out. We'll start getting Rumble more involved, and we're going to start putting out more videos. I've already talked to Pope. We've talked about doing this before, trying to review more music, talking about stuff like Tom McDonald. And in any case, I got to start cranking out more videos other than just these live streams, because clearly the videos like what Dermy's doing is the way to do it. But in any case, everybody, thank you guys, everybody, for coming on. Thank you to the panel. Thank you to the chat. You guys are all amazing. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you to Nano Reaper for being out there moderating for us. We had a lot of, unfortunately, some very depressing talk about our military and our country and everything, the way everything is going. But just remember, I think that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I think things are going to get better, because America, fuck yeah! I hope you guys enjoy the conversation. Just remember to double tap that like and subscribe button. Share this video out there, even to the non-military folks, because you don't got to be a vet to join this conversation. We ask that you just don't get butthurt. You've been warned. See you guys in the next one.
Oh, God! Ah!